Really, Fox? Really, Fox? Really, Fox? Really, Fox? Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and unfortunately, I'm here today to review the film Forgettable 4, because they do not deserve the right to be called the Fantastic Four whatsoever. So the Unremarkable Four is about these four highly intelligent people and this one average dude that experience a terrible accident that actually grants them superpowers, and that's it. There is nothing else to the story. You don't see the characters learn, cope, and develop their powers, grow interesting bonds, kind of explore the different methods of their powers. No! It's about these super powerful beings. That's it. Now, I honestly, wholeheartedly believed that this film had the potential of being something great. Nay, fantastic. With Josh Trank, the director of Chronicle, helming the project, Simon Kinberg, the writer of X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past, assisting in the screenwriting for the film, some excellent and well-casted actors to portray these iconic characters like Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, that guy from House of Cards, and some really well-done and interesting trailers for the film. It looked like this film was shaping up to be a solid hit. Then the reviews came out, and people saw the film. Even the director himself talked about how shitty this film was. Yet I wasn't deterred. I was like, okay, I'll have to go see it for myself. I have to witness whether or not the criticisms are actually valid for this film. So, yesterday, I went to go see the Fantastic Four in theaters, and upon coming out of the film, all that was going through my mind was, you done fucked up, Fox. And you, Fox, might have just killed any hope or possibility for there to be an actually good Fantastic Four film. Thank you. You are champs. You know, as I sit here right now thinking about this abomination, I'm asking myself, what did I like about the film? Was there any element to the film that was actually good? And yes, there are two things that stand out in my mind that were actually pretty decent and bearable to see. The first one is the first 20 minutes. There were actually some good elements and good buildup in the first 20 minutes. And I thought the relationship between Reed Richards and Ben Grimm, although still lacking, had the potential and the foundation to build a strong relationship. I mean, we start off the film with these two characters, and as kids, I did kind of feel like there was a growing bond, and then when they were adults, I still felt that growing bond, but it just needed more fleshing out. And the last good thing that I can honestly say about this film was the performance of Reggie Cathy, Freddy from House of Cards. That guy actually gave a really strong performance in this film. He was convincing, he was emotional, he did a solid job, and is honestly the best actor and best performance in this entire film. If we can give an Oscar to actors or actresses that give excellent performances in an overall shitty movie, this guy definitely deserves it. He went above and beyond the Call of Duty, especially with this trash. And now, ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts because we're going on a ride. A pure rant ride. And it's gonna be long. This film in its entirety commits the two biggest sins that not only a superhero movie can commit, but a movie in general. It is extremely rushed and incredibly boring! This film is terribly rushed. There's just way too many plot point scenes, situations, and characters that are so poorly developed and needed more time to really flesh out these plot points and story arcs and character arcs. But no, they just bypass that because who cares about development, right? Here's an example straight out of the movie. After the Tumultuous Four receive their powers, a whole year goes by without you ever seeing them learn, cope with, try to understand, and develop their superpowers. No, just bypass all of that needed development so that we can just see them be badasses. But you know what? You don't even get to see them be badasses because they don't do anything with their powers. It's superhero movie 101, guys. You have to show the characters learning about their powers. You can't just bypass all of that development and say, yeah, they're awesome, they're incredible, look at them. Aren't they just fantastic? And yes, you could make the argument that because we have seen the Fantastic Four in previous films and have a rather clear understanding of their power sets, we don't really need to see them develop or learn to control their powers. We kind of already get it. But if Spider-Man and other Marvel movies can take the time to develop their characters and show them learning their powers, why can't the Fantastic Four? And hell, since this film was trying to take a much more darker and somber tone with the Fantastic Four story, why not incorporate that in the scenes where they are learning about their powers? And guys, that's just one of many rushed elements in this film because there's just too many to mention. The CGI. Oh my goodness, the CGI in this film, guys, is completely half-assed, sloppy, unconvincing. It looks like something straight out of a PS2 game. It looks half-finished. Nay, it is half-finished, according to what Josh Trank said in a recent post to the internet, saying that most of the scenes featuring the Thing were never completed, and they definitely show in the film. Now granted, there were a couple of scenes in the film where the CGI was passable. Like some of the close-ups of the Thing, it looked remarkable, as well as some scenes dealing with the Human Torch, and I personally did like the look of Doom. He actually looked rather menacing. But for every good CG scene, there are 5 to 10 terribly horrific CGI scenes. Probably one of the worst, in fact there were two that really stand out to mind, is the first time that they go to this planet and you see them like walking. It looks like they are walking literally behind a backdrop of a green screen. It looks so blatantly obvious and fake. Hey guys, look at this incredible planet that we're on. Oh man, isn't it just a wonderful, look at that rock formation over there. I can definitely see that. It is totally believable. Isn't it great that we're on this fucking planet? The second one is whenever Sue Storm is using her powers, they just look so unbelievably fake. Whenever you see her like levitating in her little invisible, it doesn't even feel like she's right there. And they use the same animation whenever she's levitating down to talk to somebody. I noticed it. They did it twice in the film. Twice! That's how lazy they were in animating the CG in the film. And it's so ironic to say how bad the CG for Sue Storm is, as they do showcase her powers more in this film than they ever did in the previous Fantastic Four films. Yet even when they're displaying her powers, it looks like shit. And speaking of the previous films, how the hell do these films have better CGI and practical effects than its successor 10 years after the first film? Where does this make sense? We're supposed to be advancing, not plummeting back to the bottom? Next we got the story of the film. I can't really talk about the story of the film because it's non-existent. How can I talk and critique something that isn't actually there? There is nothing in this film that closely resembles the inkling of a story. There's some pieces there that could build up to a story, like they get their powers, they go to a military base where they spend most of the fucking movie in, they throw down with Doom, and then that's it. That's all that happens in this film, but nary a story to be found. And the damnedest thing is, they had 3 writers for this film. 3! 2 of which have actually written really compelling and interesting superhero stories in the past. So you would think that these 3 could come together and actually build something embodying a plot, right? Wrong! As the old saying goes, writers everywhere, but not a story to be seen. And speaking of things that are pretty non-existent in this film, the action. There's only 2 action sequences in the entire film, and they last literally 6 minutes total, both of them together, in a 98-minute long movie. 6 minutes worth of action. Wow! But honestly, I'm not going to judge the quantity of the action in this film, as the director only really directed a few action sequences in Chronicle, yet that film was still good. Instead, I'm going to critique the quality of the action sequences in this film. And they are a joke. There's nothing appealing, nothing engaging, nothing intense about any of the action scenes. The world is literally about to be sucked into a black hole by the end of the film, and you're like, oh well, whatever. Because that's exactly how I want to feel in a dire situation. And now comes the big one. This is it. The last element in the film to break the camel's back for me, and just made me completely disregard and hate this film. And that was the characters and the acting. Not only were most of the characters in this film incredibly hollow and terribly bland, not only did most of the main characters share very little characteristics, personality, or charisma from their comic book counterparts besides their names and their power sets, but they have nil development given to them. But that's not even the worst part. What hurts the most is that they were actually building up to some sort of development for each of the characters. Like, each of them looked like they were going to explore an element of their characters, and you are actually going to learn about them and see it develop throughout the film, but guess what? They abandon it! Like, apparently Johnny Storm has a very distant relationship with his adopted sister and his father that's never truly explored. He just has this teenage angst and, I don't really like my stepsister, I'm never gonna really bond with her, and I can't stand my dad. But why? Why does this exist? Was there some traumatic backstory to it? Does it have to do with his mother? Does it have to do with the adoption? It's never explored in the movie. You're left sitting there with your thumb up your ass, thinking to yourself, maybe it's one of those elements, but you don't know. You don't know. It could just be for nothing, too. The acting in the film is just palm-face inducing, as most of the actors look so disinterested in their roles. Miles Teller as Reed Richards gives a performance with as much charisma as a tomato. Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, known to be the most fun-loving, energetic risk-taker of the team that always cracks a joke and is always entertaining, just comes off as terribly unengaging, lacking any sort of the charisma, the enthusiasm, and the fun that Johnny Storm is known for. Instead, what we got is a Johnny Storm full of angst and anger, and I just don't like my dad, and I'm not gonna do it. Sure, he cracks a few jokes here and there, but 1, they're not funny, and 2, they came off as incredibly forced. Now take it how you want, but I personally didn't see a problem with them casting a black guy to play Johnny Storm. In fact, I actually praised it, showing that superheroes did not have to be stuck to one specific ethnic group. But it's not the color of the character's skin, but the content of the performance of the actor. And Michael B. Jordan just didn't deliver and didn't capture the energy that Johnny Storm needed. And the biggest joke of it all is that Michael B. Jordan has played a character like Johnny Storm before. It was Chronicle. I think that's why Josh Trank even casted him in the role, so that he could portray the same character that he did in Chronicle. And it would make sense. It fits perfectly. But in this film, they told him not to do that. You gotta be stoic and angry and pissed off and you don't care about your father. What the fuck are you thinking? Now let's talk about Kate Mara as Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman. Yeah, she was blandly forgettable, and the Invisible Woman was a perfect name for her, as I didn't even notice her throughout the film. I didn't care for her. Moving on. Jamie Bell as Ben Grimm, aka The Thing. Completely wasted! There was such a rich character arc to be had with this character that was never, ever fully explored. Even Josh Trank himself said that he wanted to tell a very tragic and abusive backstory dealing with Ben Grimm a la Chronicle, but you never see it come to fruition. It's hinted at the beginning of the film with his abusive relationship with his brother, but that's it. That's the only time you see that. Plus, we don't even get to understand the character personally. The struggle that he goes through with his new identity, his new looks, feeling alienated, shit like that was explored in the previous films. Those campy films did a better job at developing the character of Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, than this film did in its entire runtime. And last and most certainly least, Doom. Now I will admit this. I like the way that the character looked. And I like the fact that he was extremely powerful, that it took all four of them to fight him, as in the past films and even in the comics, I never really understood why it took four people to defeat one guy. In this film, it made sense. He was incredibly overpowered, so it made sense that all four of them had to team up. But the character as a whole is extremely cliche and uninteresting. And the final showdown dealing with him is without a doubt the most anticlimactic showdown I have seen in a movie in 5 years. My God, that was so underwhelming. And for a film that's supposed to be highlighting the importance in family and teamwork, they do a really shit job at portraying that, as I never felt like they were ever a team. Even when they got together, I never felt like they actually cooperated as a team. I felt no chemistry. I felt no bond. Oh, and did I forget to mention the fact that this film is boring? Guys, this film is just... There's nothing more to be said. There's nothing more that I could elaborate to you that would emphasize how bad this film is. I have explored, explained, and detailed everything wrong about the film and why this film failed so epically. Hell, this film did its damnedest to make the previous two Fantastic Four films look like freaking masterpieces, looking way better and much more fun than this one would ever be in its lifetime, even though it definitely was taking a much more interesting route and direction than the previous one. But again, it's about the execution. Every film has the potential to be good, but if it's not executed properly, it will implode on itself. And that's exactly what happened here with The Atrocious Four. They had all the elements to make a great film, and they squandered it, making one of the worst superhero films to come out since the early 2000s. It is so bad that the director himself, Josh Trank, even dissed the movie a day after its release and even stated that he will never make a superhero film ever again. And by the way it's looking, it looks like none of the people on this film, none of the people that acted in this film would ever star in a superhero movie ever again. It's because of all these elements, all of these things, that I'm gonna have to give this film a 0 out of 5 stars. It is complete bullshit and is a perfect example as to why I picked August to be bullshit month. Thank you for validating that choice. Oh God, it is hurting from this rant. I just don't want to think about this movie ever again. But I would love to know, was there anybody out there that actually really liked this film? From what I heard, Grace Randolph and one of my good friends, Other Robert, actually found enjoyment in the film, which, surprising to me, but hey, maybe there's something you see in it that I don't see in it. So let me know if you like this film, or did you agree with all my points and did find it to be complete and utter shit. And let me know, which one did you enjoy better? The previous Fantastic Four films or this one? Comment below, let me know. Welcome back to Bullshit Month, guys. Stay tuned, I have a review of Glass Lip coming out probably tomorrow, another reaction video, and probably a review of Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, which is going to be a good review. So until then, guys, if you'd like to see more rage-filled videos here on Black Critic Guy channel and be a part of the Black Critic crew, hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. I'm Tony Watt II, feeling not so fantastic right now as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.